to have the ego death, did you?
As in, like, explain the ego death, because I would say no.
How much did you take?
It was like 1.1.
You didn't? Yeah, no, not even close. No. The thing with psilocybin mushrooms or magic mushrooms is when you take, I've never actually done that. I haven't taken this much. I think it's like 8 to 12 grams. There's a chance that you have an ego death where you essentially break down your body, break down your character, you find all your flaws, everything you hate about yourself, and then you use that to try and be a better person. It's not like a guaranteed thing, but it takes a lot more than 1 gram.
Yeah, I figured it did. You know, at the time, that's what we had, so we had to kind of go with it. But I feel that, though, because, you know, especially with acid and stuff like that, you know, it's kind of the same thing. Maybe not exactly the same, but it makes you pull the layer of your skin off. Not, you know, really, but it makes you look deep down inside yourself. You know.
Yeah, if you take enough acid, you will.
Yeah, it pulls.
You don't fuck with acid. No, it's all man-made. You want to avoid it. It's shrooms and DMT. Yeah. Those are the way to go.
It's still pretty fun, though.
I mean, it's fun for a party drug, but I don't really recommend acid because those old stupid ads from like the 60s where people lost their minds. That stuff happens. Like, that's not completely bullshit.
Sid Barrett.
I
look at Sid Barrett. Honestly, whenever you think of somebody that took too much acid, Sid Barrett, and you just listen to like the early Pink Floyd, and it sounds like complete shit.
Absolutely.
So
he was tripping the entire time.
Yeah, it was just too much acid. But now, when it comes to, you know, whenever you did it and everything, like, did you enjoy like any type of music with it, or what'd you like to do on it?
Yeah, it was definitely Pink Floyd. On the shrooms, 100%. I already liked them, but when I heard them on shrooms, it was a completely different experience. Like, I feel like that's the way they made that music for you to hear.
Yeah, like, did you have a favorite album or like favorite, you know, era, I guess you could say?
I didn't have a favorite, but time just destroyed my reality. Because you know how it's all quiet and then those bells start? Yeah, no, that threw everything off.
Yeah, whenever On the Run, when it first comes on, you hear like it's just like you just feel like your body, zoom, zoom, and just feel like you feel your body melting, essentially, and you end up on the floor. I mean, that's what it did to me.
I watched one of my friends watch The Simpsons and cry. It happens. Yeah. It happens.
That's what happened to me on the mushrooms. Was you felt every single vibe that, you know, came around you. So like if someone around you was laughing, more than likely you might start laughing. You know, if you're watching a movie like me, you know, I felt like I was watching like a chick flick or something. I started crying almost. Like I started tearing up.
And you watched it at your house, right?
Yeah.
See, I made the not so smart life decision to go see Jurassic World on them. And it wasn't so much to where I was having crazy visions, but like outside of the theater, I was stroking the wall thinking my hand was melting into it. I melted into my seat.
Did you ever get scared? Like, was there parts of the movie?
Oh, yeah. I got petrified. And I could have sworn that I was right there with Chris Pratt the entire time. My friends would lean over, they're checking on me like, hey, man, how you doing? I'm like, hey, man, shut the fuck up. I'm saving the world. Like, leave me alone.
That would be a pretty cool movie to see.
No, you don't want to do
it. So you wouldn't do it again?
Nah, not something like that. I would go to a theater again, but it couldn't be any type of jump scare or horror action type of film.
Now, you said something about Pink Floyd a little bit ago. Now, have you ever watched The Dark Side of Oz, like the lineup with the Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of Oz?
I haven't.
You haven't? Check that out. You definitely want to check that out. It is so weird because, you know, of course, Wizard of Oz came out, what, 41, 39 or something like that?
30. It was late 30s, I think.
Yeah, so somewhere around in there. So Dark Side of the Moon came out 75, 74, whatever it was. And it legit lines up. You can go to YouTube right now and pull up Dark Side of Oz. And from the very beginning, it lines up to a T. It is honestly...
What plays when that little munchkin hangs himself? Because that's real, isn't it? I want to start this off with conspiracy theories that aren't true, but I'm pretty sure that was real.
I watched it the other day completely sober. I did. It is... I don't remember. Now, whenever, like, oh man, I really can't remember what song was playing during that, but it just lines up like whenever she gets out of the house, whenever it lands in, wherever the place is, Money starts playing as soon as, and then yeah, it's really that album. Of course, you got On the Run, you got Time, Eclipse.
So my Pink Floyd ignorance right now.
Us and Them was playing on one of the I think that's after Money, I believe, and that plays when she's with the little munchkins or whatever you want to call them. It's really cool. It really is. If there's any big huge Pink Floyd fans, I love.
How's it work where the album is only like 45 minutes?
In the actual video itself, they actually play it again. Now, I don't know after the 45 minutes or so, because the album's only about 45 minutes anyway.
Right.
So really after that, I don't know if it's truly matches up or not. They continuously play it. Now, it even matches up to the point where, Dorothy puts her head up to the Tin Man and listens for the heart. And at the end of The Dark Side of the Moon, there's that heartbeat.
Right.
And as soon as she puts her head up to it, she hears the heartbeat. And it's so odd, man. It's very...
Yeah, I'll check it out.
I've
always heard about it. I just never actually bothered with it.
Yeah, it's really legit. It's... I don't think they did it on purpose. I really don't. I don't know why they would.
Right, I doubt they
did. But if they didn't, and they just did it out of some stroke of luck, it's pretty sweet. It really is. It's really neat.
I've never watched The Wall messed up on shrooms either, and I feel like I should.
Yeah, you should. I've never have either, but...
Or what's the one that Who did? Is it Tommy?
I hated that movie.
Dude, I loved it. I bet it would be a trip. It's ridiculous in every way. That's why it's awesome.
I can't. We had to watch that in Classic Films.
I know. Yeah, that's where I watched it too.
That, I'm not really a big Who fan. I mean, I like some of their music. They have some good music. They're not a horrible band by any means. But yeah, I just couldn't do it. I
don't really care for the music at all. It's just the movie itself. It's just a wild ride. It's one of those trippy things that I just can't help but enjoy.
Yeah, like the Pinball Wizard. I can't do it.
Can't do it.
No.
At all.
No. Yeah, it's just I think it's one of the worst rock songs of all time.
Well, I mean,
I think it is.
This is coming from the guy that thinks Rush is better than Dream Theater. So.
It is. They are.
No, they're just not. They're not.
I mean, that's
right now, type in which one's more talented. Tell me what Google says.
I wouldn't really compare those two, though. I really wouldn't.
Right, because Dream Theater's up here and Rush is right here. And then every other band is down here because Rush is incredible.
I ain't taking anything with Dream Theater, but
No, you are. You are.
I just think Rush is better. I think they're musically, What'd you say a couple weeks ago? You're like 5's too many. You're talking about Slipknot, just 5, 6's too many.
Oh no, dude, they have 9. And that's it's definitely 4 or 5 too many.
5's too many.
They're a 20-plus-year-old band, and they have a guy who wears a clown mask who bangs on trash cans. And I don't know what they pay him. I don't know what they pay him, but it's too fucking much.
Probably gets paid pretty penny.
He probably does. I'm pretty sure, before I shit on this guy hardcore, I know for a fact he's a nice guy, and he probably writes some of the music, but let's be real.
Who is 9 guys. Who is the guy? Is it Clown? Or is it?
It's Clown.
It's Clown?
Yeah, it's Clown. Yeah, it's Clown. Then they got that turntable guy. I don't know anything about him, but they use him once on every album.
Yeah.
But I'm not big on Slipknot anyways.
I like Slipknot from their very first album I didn't like. It was too much for me. But the second,
metally.
Yeah, and then once All Hope is gone, then after that, the last 2 they really put out has been kind of for me. But yeah, man,
I'm surprised you like Iowa. Iowa's heavy, man.
Iowa's got some good songs.
Some of really shit.
Yeah, Volume 3 was really the first one that I really listened to.
Gotcha.
Yeah, before I forget and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some other bands that have those kind of movies that really matches up. But I will say this: whenever you do, or if that ever something, man, check Animals out.
Animals.
Yeah, from Pink Floyd. Check that out.
I gotcha.
It's right up there, man. It's one of the most underrated Pink Floyd albums, in my opinion. It doesn't get the love that The Wall gets, or Dark Side of the Moon, or even Wish You Were Here. It doesn't get that, but I feel like Animals is that album that it took a lot of, Wish You Were Here and Dark Side of the Moon, and that's what you get. I think then after that, they came out with The Wall. So, I mean, very good, very good.
Yeah,
so,
there's a lot of bands like that. They got those sleeper albums people don't talk about.
Yeah, they've come out with so many songs throughout the years. Those albums only have 5 songs on them. But at the same time, they're also fucking 25-minute long songs.
Right.
So, Shine on Your Crazy Diamond, that's a 25-minute, So metal's pretty good too. One of the earlier ones with Echoes and One of These Days.
I'm not sure if I know that one that well.
Yeah, that's a really good one if you're trying to get trippy.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, that's
Nah, those were all years ago.
I mean, I did see also too. Speaking of this, where I think it was Oregon. Was it one of those things that Oregon had legalized, or they were legalizing?
They were I don't know if they've done it quite yet, but yeah, they're the first state to decriminalize apparently all drugs. So it's not just weed and shrooms and stuff. I guess they're doing like heroin and meth and stuff too.
Oh yeah, it's the whole shebang.
And I think they did that. It's May now. They started that back in February.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like I'm glad they're the guinea pig and not us. Because if you look at other countries that have done it, it's actually had positive results. But then you look at America and you realize our population is way higher. We have a lot of stupid fucking people. So things that work in other countries don't necessarily work here. But you know what? If in 2 years in Oregon their overdose rates are down and their homicide rates are down and whatever's going on, awesome. Start doing it everywhere else.
Yeah.
One of the states has to be a guinea pig.
I mean, listen, if it's going to be any, I'm not shocked that Oregon did that. I'm really not.
Oregon doesn't care. They really don't care at all.
I mean, could you imagine? Of course, you can't just go to a store and buy crystal meth. Like
Right.
we're just going to say that right now. You can't just go in and buy cocaine or anything like that. And I do like the law. I really do.
Yeah.
Because, don't get me wrong, I don't want people hooked on that stuff. But at the end of the day, people's going to do it if they want.
Either way.
And what that does is that allows someone, and I think there's one of the rules of it is in the law that they did sign, was if someone is caught, of course they have to pay a little fine. And I think they give them an opportunity to go to some type of rehab. And that's what they need to do. They need to, instead of throwing them in jail, slapping a felony on, then their life's over with, essentially, with that felony. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're selling it, that's a different story. We're not saying, hey, but I think with the whole war on drugs thing, it goes in with the whole marijuana being legalized in a lot of places.
I mean, that goes all the way back to the whole DARE thing. You tell kids not to smoke cigarettes, guess what they do? They smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. Like I said, we grew up being told that weed was like this devil, lettuce, and you smoke it once, you'll be hooked, and you'll be like shoving needles in your arm and shit like that. And that didn't really turn out. Now you have states legalizing it. Virginia just legalized it. And I think with COVID and how these financials are looking for these states, I think you're going to see a lot more states going that route, which I think it's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a good thing.
I don't think we should be pulling people over or taking people to jail for weed. I just don't see it.
And we got bigger problems.
Yeah, I mean,
we're up to probably about half the states now.
I think
probably way more.
Less than half.
Count. What about medical? Was most
medical
of them, right?
was about 30 something. Sorry, 30. I think around 30 states maybe.
It's not bad.
I don't have my phone in front of me to look, but
still ridiculously low. But it's not too bad.
I mean, think about it though. When you went back, say if you go back to 2011,
right?
Okay, would you ever think that they would legalize weed?
Yeah.
When did you honestly think they would though? Would you say it would be the following year, or would you say
it would have been like the second time I smoked weed, and I was like, yeah, there's no way this shit's staying illegal. Honestly, when I realized how comparing to other drugs, I want to make this clear, how safe it is, and I realized all that stuff's bullshit. I was like, this ain't gonna be illegal forever. You got alcohol that's legal, kills way more people. Cigarettes, snuff, way more people. It's like, they'll get to it.
Yeah.
But it's taking a lot longer than I thought.
I was honestly, when I first heard that Colorado and Washington in 2012 had legalized it, I was very shocked. I honestly did not know it was on the ballot at first. And when you first hear about it, you're like fucking legal weed. No, it just didn't ring. I did not think that would happen.
Was it 2012 when they legalized that?
Yeah, they passed it in 2012.
Damn.
And I think in 2014 it took effect. It was something, But I think it's great. I really do. And
those years right there, 2012 through 2014, are those years where I smoked way too much.
Yeah.
And that's the problem you got to watch out for. You can't do that. So you asked me shit about 2013. I'm like, man, I don't even know anymore. It kind of freaks you out a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, like, what are the downsides? You got some paranoia. Cool, have fun.
Yeah. I mean, you don't see people breaking in people's houses for it.
You don't.
You don't. You
shouldn't drive on it. You shouldn't go to work on it. But
no.
If you give someone a choice, or give me a choice between weed or alcohol, it's weed every time.
Yeah. Oh. Definitely.
Which not anymore because I have to drive, delivery truck all the time. But just in general, if you would tell me to choose one or the other, it's going to be weed.
Yeah, I think it's safer. I mean,
it's 100% safer. How many people have died from it ever? It's zero.
I mean, you got the Nancy Graces of the world that think that you're gonna smoke weed and go torture the neighborhood and
You got the VP that locked up a bunch of people for it.
Yeah, and now speaking of vice president, do you see Biden do you see it being legalized federally in Biden's term, or do you think it's going to be after him? Or
it's going to be after him.
You don't see him. You don't see him coming around.
I don't. He's said no, I think, multiple times at this point.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: I don't think Biden will. I don't think it will happen in Biden's years. But that's to say, if Biden runs again in 2024, which I don't think he will, I don't think he should.
I don't think he will either.
I think their age limit, but that's a story. That's a topic for a different day. But I don't see it happening in the next 4 years or 3 years, whatever. Now, the following president, as long as a Republican does not get in there, now you could get a Republican in there that would be for it. You never know. Maybe a younger one. You really could. But I think it will by the end of this decade. I think that it will be taken off the Schedule I drug. And, the war on drugs will be over, which it should have been over 20 years ago.
It should have never started.
No, it should never have started. It's been the biggest waste of money. It's probably one of the top 5 most wasteful spending in American history.
I was going to say, what have we wasted more on, the war on drugs or the war on Afghanistan? Or war on terror, whatever.
I'd have to look that up. I don't have that in front of me. If you want to look it up real quick. That would be a really good one. Because I was thinking about that too, is wasteful spending that I can think of. Vietnam, Iraq. Well, you could say just war on terror, period.
Yeah,
and then the war on drugs.
It.
That's gonna be really curious. I'm really curious to see how much, whichever's more. I mean, the war on drugs started in what? Nixon.
Nixon, yeah.
So you got to think they've had, almost a 30-year head start on them. 25.
Yeah, 25 or so, right?
Yeah, something like that.
God, that's a long article. Just give me a number. What podcast number is this?
This is 24, 23, I believe.
Dude, you got to go ahead and hire someone to pull this stuff up for you.
I do.
All right, so real quick, war on drugs is $51 billion, which is actually a lot less than I would have thought.
What year is this? Is this 2020, 2019, or is this?
That was just what popped up on Google real quick. No, because this right here says $1 trillion.
I really want to take a guess.
This one's saying 2018 it was 29.4 billion. It's all over the place. 78 billion. Let's just say a shit ton.
Yeah, I would want to say honestly, I really think we spent more on the war on terror. I really do.
Overall, yeah, because you're looking at 40 years. Yeah,
if I had to take a guess, I'm going to probably say war on terror. Probably.
I didn't even look up how much that was.
But either way, I think that that needs to end.
That's about 2.4 trillion.
That's the War on Terror.
Yeah, but that was December 2014.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's old. It's going to be. This 2019 says 5.4 trillion by the end of 2020. Dude, it might be the War on Terror.
That's what I'm thinking.
A lot of terrorizing. It's a lot of terrorizing.
I mean, I did see where we are finally getting out.
Supposedly.
Supposedly,
Here's the thing. I read that and I went, cool. Obama said that. Trump said that. Biden's saying it now. Let's hope. But, until it happens at this point, I'm not even believing it.
They need to.
They definitely need to. I'm not optimistic on this one for some reason.
I'm optimistic. I'm going to try to be on it. I really do. I hope he's being honest with it, that he's, but military-wise, it's really hard to say anything can happen when it comes to that. I just think, man, it's time to go. We should have been gone a long time ago, and I understand certain things have happened. I really thought after Bin Laden was, killed 10 years ago, we're, 20 years going on almost. We've been there, and, the whole Iraq thing, which that was a complete fucking disaster.
That was.
And I've known a lot of people that served over there and, multiple tours and everything. And it's, it's just, and especially how Iraq ended up, once we pulled out and then, ISIS moved in and all that shit we just did for nothing.
Right.
That's the shit that really bothers me when it, but
real quick on that too, just because we're on this,
mm-hmm.
people get it confused. I'm 100% against the war in Iraq. That doesn't have anything to do with the troops themselves.
No.
They're just doing their jobs.
Yeah, they
props to them for that too. It's nothing to do with them. I'm not even against war. If we need to be in a war, that wasn't a war.
Yeah, I was always for Afghanistan. I really was. I believed in the mission. I believed in this. Now Iraq, maybe at the time Bush could have done whatever he wanted, with that. Do I think Saddam had weapons of mass destruction? No, I don't. I really don't. Yeah. Why would Saddam just 10 years prior got his ass whooped? I mean, and it goes this whole regime change that we've seen throughout history that we've kind of been involved with. I mean, go back and look at World War I. We're defending democracy, this and that. Europe at the time was, mostly all monarchs and whatever. Take that out. Guess what comes in 20 years later? You got Nazis. You got fascists. Fascism comes in. Something worse always comes in. It's a trend. And look at Iraq. Iraq's a prime example. Iraq, we come in there, we destabilize the region, and that hurts us with Iran. Because think about it, if you remove Iraq, you remove Saddam, that's Iran's main enemy, right there.
Right.
Now Iran just has to focus on Israel. There's no one else in the region that's going to tell them, hey, you got Pakistan, Afghanistan, it's a complete fucking mess. Iraq, what I'm saying? Syria, what are they going to do?
Right.
Look at Gaddafi.
Yeah, it's not even also fuck you for that video.
And Libya, sorry. Yeah, oh yeah, when he gets his knife shoved up his ass.
Yeah, I didn't need to see that at 8 in the morning or whenever I watch that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I mean that just shows.
Put that in the description.
What? Want the video?
Throw the link in the description. Do it.
Yeah, I'll put the video. I'll put the link in the description for you guys.
Some more hate your way.
If you want to watch,
a horrible fucking person.
Yeah, a horrible fucking person. Now Gaddafi. I mean, he had some issues there in the 80s, and I think Reagan even went and said, "Fuck that, we're gonna, bomb Libya, whatever it was." And then he was cool a little bit, and then I think he was the very first person to send condolences to the United States after 9/11. Yeah.
Still a pretty horrible person.
And then he could really straighten his act up, and then it seemed like, around 2011, 2010, it's just hit the fan, and next thing you know, he gets the knife shoved up his ass, and he's out the door.
Yeah, that shit's on YouTube for friends to send each other at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'm here for,
It does happen. It does happen. I'll get you back.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I got plenty more to send.
I've seen the dark web, man. I've been down the
Yeah.
8chan rabbit hole.
Yeah. So, and it's just, that's why I'm glad we don't, North Korea would be one that would be a shit show if something ever went down.
Right. They wouldn't even know, man.
No, they wouldn't.
They would.
Imagine
They'd have no
that.
way to.
Imagine that. Either China's going to step in, then you were going to have South Korea involved. Right. Probably going to have Japan involved. So that's going to be a war right there, automatically. If you woke up tomorrow and North Korea had collapsed, what happens?
After,
chaos.
Well,
chaos.
Yeah, it'd be chaos.
Oh, it'd be chaos.
100%.
China don't want, a capitalist, country on their border, especially an ally of the United States on their border.
See, the thing people forget about North Korea too is their citizens are basically brainwashed.
Yeah.
They're cut off from the entire world. They don't even really have internet access. What Kim Jong-Un says is what they believe.
Yeah, they
if he tells them he shits gold, they're like, "Oh, our supreme leader shits gold."
What did he say? He don't pee or poo or something like that?
Yeah, he doesn't pee or poop. There's some great facts about this fantastic guy.
It's like, so you tell me my man's don't pee or poo?
And they're just like, well, we can't Google it, so I guess he doesn't pee or poo.
I mean, think about it. Like just about anywhere you go, they have two pictures in their house. I mean, like the Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-Il and all of them, they're like gods.
Right. You think his sister's going to be next? I think she is.
I don't think so. I really don't. I really, really don't. We're talking about North Korea here. I don't see them doing that. I really don't. I think somebody else would step in. But who else they have in the family? It would have to be someone in the Kim family. I mean, shit. He offed his brother.
He did. His half brother, though, right? Yeah.
I think it was his half brother or something like that.
That was when they faked the reality show, wasn't it? And tricked those women into poisoning him.
I think
that's what that was. They took these two women, for anyone that doesn't know, and for like 3 or 4 months, they had these girls just go out to people in public and just pull little pranks on them. They're like, "Here, take this, whatever it was." I'm trying to think of something they rubbed on their fingers. Go wipe it across their nose. Ha ha, we're all laughing. And eventually, they got them to do that with his half brother and laced it with poison, and then charged these girls with murder.
Oh wow!
Because that dude is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens when you cross a family like that. I mean that's shit like that happens, and
his uncle was apparently stripped naked and fed to 120 starving dogs in 2013.
That's a shit way to go.
That really is.
That's a shitty way to go. Would you rather go with a knife in your ass or 20 dogs or however many dogs?
Well, it also said that was in front of hundreds of spectators, so probably the knife in the ass. I guess if you're putting me on the spot on that one. If you had me in a cage and you're like, you have a week to decide, I don't know.
I mean, either way, let's just go ahead and say it's either way, it sucks. Completely.
Oh, 100%.
Now,
Kim Jong-Il invented the hamburger.
Yeah, it's a fucking good one.
I'm sure he did, yeah.
I mean,
he had a supernatural birth.
Oh,
the funniest one in this article is the world loved him. He never used a toilet.
Yeah, he don't pee or poo, man.
Neither one of them, apparently. The Japanese stole time.
Wait, what?
North Koreans believe that during the occupation by the Japanese imperialists in 1919, time was stolen. In 2015, Kim Jong-un decided enough is enough. North Korea set its clocks back by 30 minutes on August 15th.
So they just set the clock back 30 minutes.
Right, and said that we got our time back. I don't.
That's
yeah,
hard.
Awesome. Did you ever watch Vice when they went over there? It's probably been a good 10 years by now. When they played that basketball game with Kim Jong-Il.
I've watched a lot of those documentaries, not that one per se, with the basketball one.
I think that one, it's on YouTube. It's called The Hermit Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a creepy ass part in it, which actually, did you see The Interview, that Seth Rogen movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You remember that part where they're at the grocery store and everything's fake?
Yeah, it's a fake.
That happened to the Vice crew.
Oh,
Like,
I
they went into
guarantee
this
it.
grocery store and it was completely empty except for like 2 workers. Everything was fully stocked. And they were like, the hell's going on here? We know you guys don't really have food.
Yeah.
They take him to a computer lab with these kids. All these kids are on the internet. And one of the cameras leans over and just catches this kid. He's just staring at the screen, and it's on the Google homepage. It was all props. Like, North Korea faked their country for Vice.
I'm not shocked, honestly. I'm really not. I think.
Right. Pretty sure they kept the power on, too, because they shut that off at night.
I mean, imagine, though, trying to escape those. You hear about those stories all the time.
You do.
I mean, there was a dude back in 2017, 2018, the dude that ran across the DMZ or one of those little areas. They found him. He was so malnourished. And he had, worms. I mean, and this is a soldier in the North Korean army.
Right.
This is not a farmer. You know what I'm saying? Usually the military, they keep pretty well fed to the most part. I mean, if you're going to get, honestly, that's your best bet if you're somebody you want to join the military over there, because at least you get something.
Hopefully
maybe,
they see this. Hopefully.
Maybe, but yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Are they able to just bail to South Korea? Does South Korea take them?
Yeah, I mean, if you get over there, yeah. I think I've never heard anything about South Korea saying no. It's basically, can you get over there?
Right.
I don't think they'll expedite somebody back over.
Gotcha.
Now, a lot of people have to go through China and go through there. I guess it's a little bit easier going through the Chinese border than it is, the South Korea border. Basically, they have to go across to China. And I mean, I read a video that some girl was like a sex slave. And she finally got over there. Like her mom was, as bad as it sounds, and it was fucking awful. Her mom was fucking raped and just so her kid would live.
Right.
Just so her kid would get out of there. And she made her way to South Korea and everything like that. And yeah, it's fucking crazy.
You know what's weird though is it's May now, and Un has been pretty damn quiet since January.
Well, they thought he died not long ago.
Right, but he likes to test the waters when we get a new president. Obama gets elected, he showed his, or not him, Il showed his shit. Trump gets elected, he showed his shit. Biden gets elected, I don't think he's said much recently.
Do you think that was, whenever Trump had that whole Singapore conference, do you think that was legit? Like, do you think that was actually for good?
It ended, they met, 2 or 3 times? I know it was at least 2, but it ended up being pointless. But I do think both sides really did want to try.
Yeah.
It's just you had Trump, who was stubborn, wasn't going to budge, which is, for the best in that. Then you had Un, who's stubborn, because, that dude's a dictator. He can do whatever the hell he wants. And they just didn't budge. But I do think both of them went in there hoping they could get the other one to give in a little bit.
Yeah.
A deal would have been cool, but... And I'll say, as much as I hate Trump, he tried.
Yeah,
he tried.
I think out of all the presidents, from Truman, any president that had anything to do with Korea, post-Korea War, so you got Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump. I think out of all those, Trump did more.
He tried the most.
Tried the most since.
I don't know if anything really got done though. I guarantee they're still trying to build nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I think.
But he tried the most.
Yeah, so. I think because what's happened is, you can say what you want about Trump. I think not domestically, but foreign policy wise, I thought he did a really good job. I was actually, for the most part, I think he did really well foreign policy wise. With the whole Korea thing, he actually tried. He didn't just kick the can down the road. That's been happening for a while.
Because here's the thing with that is, you're the president. Yeah, everyone in North Korea knows if we were to assassinate this guy, shit's going to get real. People don't realize just how crazy Kim Jong-Un is. Like, Trump, even though he was protected, even though he most likely they wouldn't have done anything, there was that chance.
Oh, yeah.
And he went over there, at least twice.
I mean, he actually stepped foot. He's actually the first president to ever step foot in North Korea.
Yep.
And that's history in itself.
Right.
Regardless, I think that's progress. I think that's progress. Because before, no other sitting president had ever done that.
And see, the best part about this is then, a few weeks later, he's typing on Twitter, Little Rocket Man.
Yeah, see, minus all the shenanigans there, I really think it was a step in the right direction.
Right.
Now, it's going to take more. I think it's not just something that would have been done. I mean, because you think about it, back then was, a couple years ago, there was talk about, hey, we might be going to like war with them, or which it's always kind of popped up every.
It's every couple of years.
It seems like
it's every couple of years.
But I was even reading articles with Yahoo, and they were talking about, what's the North Korean army like? You know what I'm saying? Like legit, filling these articles out that,
I mean, it's been a few years now. South Park really said that best, though. They're not going to start a war they know they can't win.
No.
So when North Korea does something, that means they have something. But they're like right now, let's take the most logical route. They don't have any nuclear weapons. If they tried to fuck with us, we would obliterate them. They're not going to do it. They just bluff you.
I think here's the problem with North Korea, and it's not necessarily North Korea. I think toe-to-toe, the United States would have really necessarily no problem with North Korea.
Right. I really do. I really Japan and China and all them get involved.
It's China that you have to worry about, even with the Korean War. If it wasn't for China, there would be no North Korea today. Honestly, if it wasn't for the Soviets, let's be completely honest. Soviets propped up the Chinese propped up North Korea. And it was all flowing from the Soviet Union, and, I think it was Macarthur. Yeah, Macarthur wanted to bomb China in 1950. It was like around December, had him all the way up to the border, and he wanted to bomb China. Truman said no, and he eventually resigned, this and that. So, and after that, went on back and forth for 3 years. So, I think it's one of those kind of things that China will always back them up. It's
they will, yeah.
Yeah, and of course we'd have Japan, South Korea and stuff like that. But yeah, it all relies on China when it comes to North Korea.
It does. It's tricky. It's just at the same time, North Korea is not going to do anything until they really got something.
Yeah, China's not going to let North Korea fail. Exactly. I really don't. They're not. They're just not. There's no way they would allow South Korea on their border or a unified Korea. That's,
And I hate even saying it. This shit's going to come to a head with China. I don't know what that's going to entail. I'm not trying to say we're about to go start a war, but they want to be the number one superpower. We want to be the number one superpower. It's catching up. It's getting real weird, real quick.
For so long, really since the end of the Cold War, it's just been the United States.
Right.
For however how long, from 45 through 91, it was United States, Soviet Union. And for the last 30 years, it's been just the United States. And, China wants to be a player. But they are willing to go the extra mile and to do it the dirty way. And that's what you got to worry about.
Right. I hope I'm not butchering this too. Did you watch Biden's State of the Union a few days ago?
No, I didn't catch that. I really didn't.
You didn't miss anything. It was rather boring. The policy, I'm not even. It was boring. Let's just be real. Which is probably what we need after Trump. But at one point in it, he was talking about China, all the conversations he's had, and he's like, "Look, they want to be number one." He didn't go into a lot of details about what his plan was to combat it, but they're right there with us.
Yeah, I don't think at the moment they could go toe-to-toe with us in the long run. I really don't. Now, in a few years from now, 10, 20, I think they have like a 2049 plan.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you read into Mike Baker's when he was talking about that or anything, but he was talking about the Chinese 2049 plan, which is basically they want to be the number one superpower by then, or something around in there. Now, the problem with China is you have so much American business being over there, and, with the NBA and everything like that, you got there's concentration camps, whatever you want to call them, with the Muslims and everything. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's an absolute mess. You got people like Hollywood just catering to them.
And that no one says anything. Yep. You had those riots in Hong Kong before COVID. I don't believe a lot of these conspiracy theories that say like China, did it on purpose or anything like that. I try not to put too much into that. But you always have to think about it. China, yes, our relation at the moment is not the best, but I think deep down, China does not like us.
Oh, they definitely don't, man.
They don't.
They definitely don't.
They
don't.
They don't.
As far as COVID goes, I'm pretty confident in saying China fucked something up, tried to hide it. I don't think there was really any malicious intent with it.
You think it is?
Maybe I'm ignorant, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, I think they really just kind of were screwing around with something. It got out. They're like, we got to keep this quiet. 2 months went by. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to sit here and defend China. Like,
no.
I'm wearing the South Park hoodie. They banned South Park.
Yeah.
But when it comes to that, I'm not into that conspiracy either.
Oh, Winnie the Pooh over there, man. Just
didn't
like it. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's.
Fuck that pangolin, too.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, they want to be top dog.
They do. And we got to. I just feel like a lot of them are, especially the Republicans, but a lot of the Democrats aren't taking it as seriously as they should.
I did notice that. Now I have noticed that Biden is a lot more tougher than I thought he would.
Yeah.
He's starting to see the light because I don't see how you can't.
Right.
I don't see how you can. Any president from now on, your main focus, you have to look at Russia and China.
Right.
You can't deny both of those. You really can't. Those are public enemy 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. That's like apolitical. You got to keep America first.
Yeah.
That's the goal. It doesn't matter what your views on healthcare are, your guns or whatever. That should be an apolitical statement, is that we need to make sure we can compete with China. Make sure we can compete with Russia.
Yeah, we need to make sure that we are, and that's one of the policies that's, as for as much as I disagree with Donald Trump on a lot of things, that's one of the main policies that I did agree with.
Yep, he had a few.
The being tough on China, and that is crucial. Say what you want about the guy, but I mean, he is right when it does come to China.
Yeah, every time I post something about it, even to this day, when I post shit about Donald Trump on Facebook, I can explicitly put, I don't, but in all caps, this is about him as a person, not his policy. And people still chime in, what about Hillary Clinton? What about her?
What do you mean?
I'm saying,
like,
Donald Trump as a president, based purely on policy, was a lot better than I expected. And if you go back on my Facebook in 2015 and 2016, you're going to see a lot of words that I've had to eat on that. But Donald Trump as a person is a piece of shit. I will stand by that forever.
Yeah.
He is a piece of shit, a narcissistic con man. But he did some good, so let's go ahead and give him his credit for it.
Yeah, I think, military-wise...
People get that confused. I have to either love the guy unconditionally or I have to hate the guy unconditionally. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what he's done that was good. But
I agree.
When you Google Trump University and read about it for 2 minutes and tell me he's a good person at heart, he's not.
What do you mean Trump University? What are we talking here?
You don't know anything about Trump University?
No, never.
It was a scam college, man.
Is it like wannabe Trump dudes, or is it just MAGA dudes?
Basically, yeah. And this is a guy, every time I bring him up, I feel the need to say that with a lot of his stuff, doing some fact checking is good because he is kind of biased. But on YouTube, John Oliver has a really good, it's about a 25-minute segment on Trump University, if you want to dig deep into it. But basically what he did was he started a college, and the whole promise of the college was, we're going to train you to be a businessman like me. Mm-hmm. And the entire thing was a fucking ripoff. And these people, like, they're doing interviews and stuff, they paid $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. Didn't learn a fucking thing, didn't get anything from it. There were points where they were promised they would meet Trump, as if any rational person would pay $50,000 to meet him.
Yeah.
But they get there, and it's a cardboard cutout of him.
Shut the fuck up.
No. It's, when you look at stuff like that, when you look at how many times he was sued over his businesses, when you look at the, why am I drawing a blank on it? The kids that he insisted killed that person. This is decades ago.
Mm.
I don't know why it's escaping me. But when you look at all the stuff he's done throughout the last 30, 40 years, as a person, he's just a dirty businessman. That's all it is. And, fair play to him, I guess. But don't tell me you have to be.
I feel like
you absolutely have to be.
I feel like in a business world, I feel like you have to do that now. You know.
But see, people get so much hatred towards him. They start saying he's lazy. He didn't do anything. It's like, that's not true. You don't. Yeah, his dad gave him a small loan of $1 million, but you don't get the amount of wealth that he supposedly has without working your ass off.
Yeah.
You don't go bankrupt 3 times and rebound from it without working your ass off. Guy's a worker.
Yeah.
The dude eats McDonald's, sleeps 4 hours a night, and then just makes probably billions a year.
Man.
It's just, he was the weirdest president that we've ever had because no one wanted to give him a fair shake.
I mean, I
they
honestly
loved him no matter what he did, or they hated him no matter what he did.
It seemed like from the beginning that's how it was.
It was.
And
it doesn't help that like the first speech he gave was Mexicans are sending us rapists.
Yeah, see that
kind of set the tone for it. So
yeah,
he made his bed. He should have shut the fuck up a lot.
I think if he would have just won, if he, like I said, I know we've talked about this before, and I don't want to spend too much time talking about him or anything, but if he would have, even after he said what he said at the beginning, if he would have just kind of just chilled out, stayed off the Twitter, stuff like that, man, I really feel like that would have chilled a lot of people out.
It would have.
Just staying off Twitter, honestly. If he would just stayed off Twitter.
And like, I get what people say about the media not giving him a fair shake, because they didn't. No. Just like on the flip side now with Biden, they don't call Biden out on anything. Yeah. But here's the thing. A lot of times when the media would shit on Donald Trump, it's because of something he said. It's because of something he did. Sometimes it was hypocritical, of course, and they were just doing it just to do it because they hated him. But like you were saying, if he would have just shut the fuck up, stayed off Twitter, there would have been a lot less stuff for them to work for.
Yeah.
I really think, and every Trump supporter I've talked to disagrees with me on this, but I feel like if he would have been more composed, more calmer, he would have won in 2020. I really think he would have, because I think a lot of people that voted for Biden did it not based on policy, but because they hated Trump so fucking much. It was a repeat of 2016.
I will say this. I don't agree that if he would have just remained calm. I think, honestly, if you take 2020 out of the equation, so if you go from the time that he was acquitted with the impeachment, if you go from there and everything before, I think if you cut everything past that, I think he wins.
Right.
But the
that
whole
last year,
the COVID, the George Floyd rioting, those two things right there sunk him.
Right. But
whatever you want to say, because I think he just handled it wrong.
He did, but so did a lot of other people.
Oh, I mean, yes, not saying it was just him per se, but
I like to be clear on that.
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, though, but here's the problem: is whenever he's the president. You know what I'm saying? You are in charge. You got to take the fault of that. And I really think he missed an opportunity even pre-2020 to bring people together. The Charlottesville thing. Yep. That from the very first summer he was in office, we were already having these fucking problems.
Right.
And that's the problem that I have with him. Like I said, I think he was great, foreign policy wise, but his domestic policies, it was hit and miss. It was. And I think a lot of people of color and all them, they felt left out with him because they didn't feel like he represented them.
Right.
Mostly from the whole Charlottesville thing. From what I understand is that he didn't come out and say, "Hey, I don't condone that."
It was what was that line? Good people on both sides or whatever it was.
Yeah. It just seemed like any opportunity he had to set the record straight, to get people to come together, I think he failed on that. That was his downfall.
That reminds me, because this is going to kind of be a flip side, because I'm going to bring up Obama. And with him, and this is a really controversial opinion, a lot of people disagree with it, but he had 2 terms. I think his first term was great. I think his second term was just fucking horrible.
Like with him.
Yeah, pretty much. But as a person, aside from the sketchy stuff he's done, which I'm also going to go ahead and assume every other president has also done some sketchy shit, as a person, I think Obama's a good guy. When his memoir came out, I think late last year, I didn't actually finish the damn thing because it's like 800 pages and it's just half his presidency. And at that point, it sounds like he kind of got a little ego problem. But there was one point in the book, and he actually narrates the audiobook, which is really cool. Because after 4 years of Trump, as trivial as this is, I missed hearing a president that could speak.
Yeah.
We don't have one now either, so you kind of have to go back to Obama.
Yeah, Obama was a pretty good communicator.
He narrates it. And there's one section, I guess in the first 400 pages somewhere, because that's about how far I got into it. He was talking about the first speech he gave as president, and I can't remember what the example was, but he had slipped up and said something, and it got people from both sides just extremely pissed off at him. And he said at that moment he realized he's the president, and his words have more weight than they've ever had before, and he had to be more careful. And I really wish someone would have taken that little 2-minute clip of that audiobook and just snuck it into every fucking commercial break on Fox News for like 3 weeks straight so Trump would have seen it.
Yeah.
He just didn't pick his words.
Yeah.
Thought rolled into his brain, he said it. Then he doubled down on the stupid shit.
But that's what people liked about him. I mean,
that's what a lot of people disliked about him.
Yes, that's true. Very, very good point. But I think that was the one thing that was very appealing to a lot of people. He really appealed to the people that felt left out of the last 8 years. And I honestly say, if Obama did not get elected, Trump does not get elected.
Right.
I think it was a chain reaction from 08 to 12. I even was going on my Facebook.
I'd say more 12 to 16, but
yeah, and you even there was times when Trump was talking about running in 2012.
Right.
With the whole birth certificate thing, because I just talked about it. I had one of my Facebook memories the other day. And I talked about Trump with the birth certificate or something like that.
Sorry, I had one today. It was today. It popped up. Mine was 10 years ago. And I guess I asked, is Trump going to ask for Osama bin Laden's death certificate?
Yeah, I really do, man. I think that I don't think he would have beat Obama, though. I really don't.
No, there's no way in hell he would have beat Obama. He wouldn't have beat any of the Democratic candidates in 2016 except for Hillary Clinton. And I know there was only 3. There was Bernie and there's that old dude, but
I think he would have beat Bernie. I don't.
I
think he would have beat Bernie. Bernie, for a lot of people, is too far left. For a lot of people, I think
he's absolutely too far left.
I think Bernie's a nice guy. I don't know him, of course, but not taking anything away from the guy. But I think some of his policies were too far left. I do agree with some of the things that he wants, but a lot of people, that's too far.
I think Bernie's another good example of he means well, and AOC falls into this 9.5 times out of 10. But they mean well. They want to do some good, and I admire that because not a lot of politicians really do. But they live in these make-believe worlds where they think anything can be free. We can just magically make anything happen and there's not going to be repercussions. Then they point to countries that have 1/10 of our population and say, look, it works for them. Cool. How much debt does that country have? Do they have $24 trillion in debt? Because we do. You want to add another $10 trillion to it?
Yeah, that's...
you can't keep devaluing money just because your heart's in the right place. You got to be an adult.
Yeah, they're with the way they feel it's in the right place. You know what I'm saying?
And it is in the right place. I agree with a lot of what Bernie says. I just don't agree with his solutions.
Yeah, people agree. They want people to be $40,000 in debt coming out of school. No one should. No one should.
Right. Yeah,
but it's one of those things that you can't get it for free. Right. Because what's going to happen is if you do, what's that going to happen to the other people that have to pay on that? Someone's got to pay it.
I think eventually and slowly we could work our way to maybe like a free 2-year, maybe even 4-year community college type of thing.
I think they're going for something with that, and I think that's great.
See, the thing about that one that gets me is don't focus on eliminating the debt. Focus on fixing these fucking interest rates on the loans.
Yeah, the interest rates is really.
I know people that got $30,000 in student loans and they have $30,000 of a car payment. They'll get that car paid off and still owe $20,000 in student loans because the interest rates. Mm-hmm. That's where our problems are. It's not that you're borrowing the money. It's not that you have to pay to go to school. It's that you have to pay that much money for that long to go to school.
I agree. I think the interest rates, and I don't understand why some of these colleges are so damn expensive.
I don't either. I don't get it at all.
That's some of the problem too. The interest rates, these colleges charging outrageous amounts of money.
Oh yeah.
And
what was the chick from Full House? that I think her sentence was real light, but the one that got arrested because she tried to like bribe her kids in there, and it was like $1 million or some shit.
Yeah, she I can't remember her name, but
it's Lori something. But wasn't it like $1 million?
Ooh, McLaughlin, like maybe, or
something like that.
Yeah,
like $500,000 for a year of college.
That's
like, what are we doing? What are we doing with that?
$500,000.
You're telling me one person can spend $500,000 to go to college for 1 year? Nah, man, we could feed how many homeless people with that?
Oh, I mean, so no one should be spending $500,000 for college.
Right.
I'm sorry, just can't.
Not at all. No,
that's not. But I mean, that's something they're going to have to figure out. Luckily, and I'm very fortunate, I don't have any. You know, some people I know is up to their eyeballs in debt.
Yeah, I know about them too. Yeah,
50.
I know people at 100.
Yeah, that's outrageous.
It's sickening. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you're never going to get out of that. You're never going to get out of that.
There's people that owe 3 times as much in student loans than I owe on a house.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I hate to be all doom and gloom, but the normal person is not going to be able to get out $100,000 of debt.
Right, they're just not.
With, even if you make $100,000 a year, by the time you count in the interest rates, continuously going up.
Yep.
And you got to pay on other shit too. It's not just
Right.
I feel
you make
bad
$100,000, you pay $100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for those people. I really do. Because they did something to better themselves, but then they get fucked by the system.
Right. And then you hear the Republicans or whoever it is just saying, well, that's the choice they made. Like, do you realize when you're 17 years old, 18 years old, not everyone understands these fucking loans.
And I think honestly, man, some of that, schools should be teaching that.
Oh, they should. They absolutely should.
It seems
When's the last time you used calculus, bro?
Never.
Exactly.
Half the shit that they teach you in school you don't even use.
Right. You didn't teach me how to do taxes, though. My taxes are fucked up this year. I don't know how to fix them thanks to high school.
Yeah, I mean, I think they need to. These people will come in on a white horse and be like, hey, we're from this college. How about you think about this? See what you can get this loan. You get this, you get that. And no one sets them down and explains to them, hey, this is going to accrue interest.
Yep.
And that's not just with student loans, with other situations as well.
Right.
They don't teach that in school. They're more worried about showing your work on shit you're not going to fucking use or teaching you about whatever.
Right.
We're not, come on.
I mean, for real, I don't think I've ever used any type of really difficult math since I've graduated.
No.
And if I had to, guess what? I have a fucking phone that can do it for me.
Yeah. I think one of my teachers a long time ago, it was like middle school or something like that. Oh, you're not going to be able to use a calculator and work when you're at work. This and that, blah, blah, blah. Hey, when was the last time that I've ever, okay, I'm at work, sorry, I got a customer in front of me. Let me go ahead and do my math, for the customer so they can see, make sure I'm doing the right thing. No, fuck that. Pull the calculator out. That's just.
Like, if you want to learn math, awesome. Let's have it available to learn it. But there's more important things to be learning.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about basic math, obviously.
Right. How to write a checkbook.
Yep.
Go to a high school senior class. Take them all in the auditorium. Like, hey, can you guys write check?
Listen, man, I'm not even gonna bullshit you. I'm 28 years old. It had been probably 6-7 years since I'd written a check. Mm-hmm. I had to write one about a month ago. I had to get on my phone and Google an example. Mm-hmm. And even on the checks, they tell you, they're like, blah, blah here, blah, blah here. I'm like, I feel fucking stupid.
I've done that. Yeah. And that's crazy.
It's just stuff they didn't teach you. And it's stuff that up until now I didn't have to do. And then you get there and you realize, oh, I never learned this.
No. I mean, and that's to do with the state, I guess, with their curriculum or whatever. Right, whoever and their almighty being.
I'm going by this super great fixing old TV show called The Wire, but it's all in the state curriculums.
Yeah, the state superintendent, I guess, would have to say so of that. I mean, you could call it like a life class. I don't know.
Well, they get to a point where, again, I'm just shouting out this show because it's great, but they need enough kids to pass enough tests to get enough money for the schools. Mm-hmm. So they're teaching bullshit that you don't need. Yeah.
Honestly, you could finish high school in 2 years.
100%.
You could. I mean, honestly, let's be completely honest. They want test scores because it gives them money, this and that. But guess what? Can you honestly say that majority of the students that come out of high school, not talking about Hoover, I'm just talking about the average high school, can they go out and can they write a checkbook? Can they do this? And,
right.
Life skills that you're going to need, understand
I've been hearing about it for a solid year now with COVID and kids in college.
Yeah.
Dude, they're lost.
Yeah. There's going to be a gap.
Like, there's freshmen.
Yeah.
Just
there's
didn't know what the hell to do.
There's going to be a gap. I'm telling you, for all, especially like high school kids, for example, high school and middle school. These people that this online class is not. It's not school. You're not learning.
It's not. No.
I've
got friends who they're worried their kids are going to get held back.
Oh.
You got fucking college kids that can't do it. They don't know what the hell's going on. It's destroying everything.
Yeah, there's going to be a
really weird 2-year period.
There's going to be a gap. There's going to be a definitely a learning gap, bigger than ever, because yes, there is some kids that might work better at home under Zoom, but I don't see that. I think the majority of kids they're failing deep down. They're not learning anything. You could be the greatest. You could be the best teacher in the state.
Right.
Sorry. This school work from home Zoom, it's not working.
The other thing with that is you got you take, I don't know how many kids they do at once. Let's say 20 kids. You put them all on a Zoom call. You got these sophomores in high school. What are half of them going to do? They're going to fuck around.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't they? It's fun to them. They're just kids.
Yeah.
You can't control kids on a Zoom call. What are you going to do, mute them?
Yeah, shoot.
I know you can mute them, but still.
Yeah. You could just mute yourself, play Xbox while the teacher's just bullshitting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you, and you also feel bad for the teachers almost, too. You feel bad for the kids. You feel bad for everybody involved. I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that.
Right. Absolutely.
That would suck. Especially in where we're from, if you think about it. Look at somebody that was like, middle school when the flood happened. So you lose. Of course, you don't lose your school at the time. Or actually, honestly, let's say you're a freshman in Hoover when the flood happens, right?
That was 5 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. Say you're in 8th, 9th grade, whatever, and you go into Hoover, you lose the high school, so you don't get that high school feel to it. You don't get to, you're literally in portables. You're in trailers.
You been in those portables?
No, I heard they're nice.
They're nice as far as, because I want to give them credit on this because I had to deliver there for the longest time.
Yeah.
They're good portables. Like, they're set up as best as they possibly could. They're not a fucking school, man.
No,
they're just not. They're not a school. It's not the same.
And to, say you lose your high school and then you had to go to these portables. You have to share with the middle school, so you're taking half days. Okay. Then the following year, you finally get your actual, trailer park school, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
All right. And then, and then COVID happens.
Yep.
Then you got to do online school, so you feel bad for those kids because they did not, that class, that freshman, senior year, whichever, 8th, 9th, whatever, they didn't get a high school career. They didn't.
Yeah. Just in case this reaches to China or anywhere else that doesn't know what we're talking about, there was a big flood in West Virginia in 2016.
Yeah. So
took out school among other things, just to catch you up.
Yeah. I'd be shocked if somebody from China was actually watching this.
I guarantee you're probably already banned in China because didn't I say fuck their government last time I was on here or something like that?
Yeah, I'll make sure I put a tag of China in here.
Fuck the Chinese government, man.
Yeah,
I'm just going to keep saying it every time I'm on here until they ban you. That's what's going to happen.
Hey, that'd be kind of cool, though. I wouldn't be upset about that.
Yeah, dude. Wear that like a badge of honor.
Yeah, it's like, what is
they're going to see me anyways wearing this fucking hoodie, and they're like, oh, this dude's enemy.
That's what me and South Park would have in common. Both got banned from China.
Exactly.
But hey,
either way, good.
Now, speaking of COVID, Joe Rogan made those comments the other day.
He did.
What are your feelings on those? And did you agree with it, or did you?
My initial which his comments were basically, if you're a 21-year-old healthy person, you shouldn't take the vaccine, correct?
Yeah, or something like that. Like, what's that's just what was said.
My initial feelings on that was, this is fucking stupid. He needs to be more careful with what he says. Because look, I'm not into these conspiracies with COVID. Aside from the media and some politicians mishandling it and using it to promote some shit that they shouldn't have done, I trust the vaccine. Yeah. I think COVID's real, blah, 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 blah. So my initial reaction on that was Joe is spouting a dangerous rhetoric. And I was going off headlines that I'd seen on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled up the podcast clip and watched it and realized he's doing the same thing that Bill Gates is doing, except Bill Gates is pro-vaccine for everybody, not just the elderly and the ones at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's like, oh, well, his opinion matters. Bill Gates does not know any more about this stuff than Joe Rogan does.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you vilifying one person for their opinion but not the other? You don't have to agree with the opinion. I don't necessarily agree with it either. You shouldn't really be in a rush. Like me, I'm later 20s. I don't feel too scared to get it, but it's available here now, so why not? But if I was in an area where it's still like 2-3 months ago, you get it to the people that are older first. I'm not against taking the virus or the vaccine, just against being first. But you can have a different opinion. That's what America's about. If you don't want to take it, don't fucking take it. If you don't trust it, okay then. And all Joe is doing, and this is all he's ever done, is he questions things, gives his opinion, makes note that he is not a medical profession and that you shouldn't necessarily listen to his advice. And he does that every time he talks about this shit.
Yeah.
And people want to just hang the dude up for it.
Yeah.
It's a contradictory opinion against the mainstream media, thus it's wrong and it's horrible and it's evil.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, I don't know Joe as a person. I feel like Joe's not a bad guy. I don't think Joe's trying to get on his podcast, which is the biggest podcast in the world, and lie to millions and millions of people about a COVID vaccine. He's just a normal guy asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
When you pay attention to the science behind COVID, pay attention to all the contradictions, why wouldn't you ask questions? Shit has not lined up since day one.
No. And we've talked about that too.
We have.
But
yeah, basically with Joe, I got no problems with what he said.
Yeah, I see.
I really don't.
And I remember watching an episode.
Getting pissed before they watched the whole thing.
Yeah,
because like I said, I was pissed at first too until I watched it.
Yeah, I think because I ever remember watching an older episode of his. He was talking about something. Of course, this is pre-COVID, so this is, and he even said, like, guys, I literally run a podcast. Don't listen to me for medical advice.
He says that all the time. He's
I'm just saying opinion.
Animal dicks. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
people eat animal dicks. Don't listen to him for COVID vaccine advice.
And the same thing with me.
Or me. Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah.
We are not medical experts. I'm not going to say, hey, do or don't take it.
I have watched every episode of House like multiple times though.
Yeah, pop some Vicodin.
It's Vicodin, nah. I don't need to do any of that. I picked some shit up. It's probably lupus. That's probably what's going on.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, if you want to take it, I agree with you. If you want to take it, cool.
Take it. If you don't, you don't. But the problem we're going to run into with that is, let's say you don't want to take it. Cool. Mm-hmm. I got no issues with that, all right? Whatever. If I'm still personally scared that there's too many people like you out there, I can put a fucking mask on. Mm-hmm. The problem we're going to run into is you don't want to take the virus. Cool. That's your choice. You need to go into Walmart. And Walmart says, hey, we need to make sure you've taken the vaccine.
So you're saying, how do you feel about that? Like,
Walmart's probably a bad example. It should be more like concerts, movie theaters, and stuff. Yeah. Here's my thing on that is, for how many years now the Republicans have said private businesses can do what they want. You better fucking stand by that in the next couple of years. When they won't let you into venues because you're not vaccinated, guess what? They can do what they want. Do I personally agree with it? It depends on the circumstance, to me. If you're having some halfway limited outdoor concert, whatever, I think it'll be all right. If you're cramming 5,000 people into a room, you should probably all have the vaccine.
See, I'm not for those vaccine passports.
No, not at all.
I'm not for those. I don't like I feel like it's kind of like Pandora's box. It's one of those kind of things. Where does it end?
Here's the thing with this too is what states have opened back up completely? You got Florida,
Texas. I think they're like Mississippi maybe. There's some other southern.
I know for a fact in Florida and Texas, cases keep going down.
Yeah.
Ever since they've opened back up completely, and they got rid of the mask mandate. They didn't say don't wear them. They just stopped making you wear them. So you still have people wearing them. Because even that last UFC pay-per-view, they had a full crowd finally after 13 months. There were people in that crowd wearing masks.
Yeah, some people were.
They weren't forced, but yeah. No.
And I think that's going to happen for a while. I really do. Oh, I think there's going to be some people that, and you might see something different. Maybe next year once COVID's all over with, come flu season, you'll see people wear masks more.
Right.
I could see that happening.
That's Japan, right?
Yeah, Japan. Yeah, Japan will do that if you're sick.
And see, what gets me is you get these people, they want to be the alpha males posting shit online about how if you wear a mask, you're a pussy.
Yeah.
If you want to wear a mask, right, just wear a fucking mask. Who cares? Don't let other people tell you what to do. If you're scared of this virus, if you think it's going to hurt you or your family, wear a mask. It's not going to hurt anything. Wear two if you want. Yeah, the ones making fun of you are just fucking stupid.
Wear four. I don't give a shit.
Right, yeah. I'm not going to make fun of you. Do what you want. That's what America's about.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. I can see this happening too. And this may be true in Florida and Texas where they've already kind of lifted a lot of the mask mandates and everything, is that, and you were talking about small businesses before, is small businesses, someone will be like, hey, I want you wearing a mask when you come to my store. Right. That's something you're going to see.
You are. And I'm telling you right now, the Republicans better stand by their whole philosophy of these businesses can do what they want.
Yes.
And if you don't like it, go somewhere else.
I am 110% for that, because I think that's how it should have been to begin with. I don't mind wearing a mask now. I really don't. I was against it, a year ago. But honestly, man, it's not that difficult. It's not.
It's really not. It's not.
It's not. It's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's fuck. I'm drawing a blank. It's a sacrifice. It's a small sacrifice for something that may not help you out. It may help somebody else out.
Right.
Say what you
want.
In
worst case, it doesn't do anything. Oh well.
Yeah. Oh well.
I'm not. When I'm delivering packages and I'm running the businesses, I don't bother with them. I'm in there 20 seconds. I leave.
Yeah.
If I go into Walmart to shop for an hour, I'll put a mask on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now you're going to see that some people, once the mask mandates are over, you will start seeing some businesses go that route.
Yep.
Now, how is that going to affect like a Walmart or Target? I think they'll go off the federal mandate.
Probably, yeah.
I could see that happening, but I think 2021. I think by the end of the year, maybe a lot of people stop wearing masks. Majority of the Americans will. I think by Christmas, New Year's, I think everything will start kind of going back to complete normal. And then come springtime, you won't really.
Well, in the same way, Oregon is being the little guinea pig for all the drug decriminalization. That's what Texas and Florida are doing right now with COVID.
Yeah.
And so far, it seems all right. Their cases keep going down. They had a full UFC card, which is pretty crazy when it's 50,000 people.
It was 15,000. Yeah.
I don't know what that pay-per-view did.
It was about 15,000. You talking about numbers like buys on it, or are you
talking? Oh, I don't give a shit about the buys, man. Fighters don't get paid. Nah, the people in attendance.
Yeah, I think it's like a little 15,000 or something like that.
15,269. Yeah, that's not bad.
It felt great though, seeing fans in the stadium.
I did not miss it. I didn't miss it. I'm a fan of the sport. I'm not a fan of these fans.
Well, now, did you watch the Triller fights?
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it live because, well, honestly, I went to bed early. Even if I hadn't went to bed early, I'm not paying for that shit show. I probably wouldn't have even found a stream.
Yeah.
I watched it the next day. Yeah.
See, I actually watched it live, and I even did an episode on it. I was able to talk for 15, 20 minutes on that shit. Like, it was, say what you want about Jake Paul, but man, there was a part of you, man, just couldn't stop watching.
Here's the thing with Jake Paul. I doubt you saw it. Ariel Helwani, the guy that does the MMA stuff for ESPN? He interviewed him the other day. Jake got on there and was like, look, I'm a fucking troll. I'm just trolling you guys, and you're buying into it.
Yeah.
Let's quit talking about this annoying guy. Just quit talking about him, please.
He's not dumb. He's smart.
He is. He's
smart. He knows. It's like, dude, anytime that, DC calls him out or that whole shebang, man, that's shit for him. Like, if you watch on the UFC fight card on 261 when he was there. They were like, "Fuck Jake Paul, fuck Jake." Yeah, bro, he was loving it. He was loving it.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing, and it's
he shit his pants that night though, man. You saw DC get in his face, right?
Yeah.
You know what DC told him, right?
Guess who won though?
DC
Jake
won.
Paul.
No, DC won. Has Jake Paul said anything about DC since then?
But here's the reason I say he wins is because guess what?
DC don't. About him.
It's a lose-lose for DC at the end of the day. And you know my feelings on DC. I love DC as a commentator, and as a fighter, I would hope that he would whoop his ass. I really would.
DC would kill the guy. Let's be real.
But this whole UFC going to boxing thing's got to stop. You know, and I understand that Jake's, calling these old UFC fighters out. Your boy Ben, you know what I'm saying? Like that.
Here's how clever he is, though, is the lead up to that Ben Askren fight. Before Ben signed that, he was calling out Michael Bisping. Do you know Bisping?
Yeah.
Bisping's a former middleweight champ. The dude has a boxing background. Bisping was like, yeah, I'll fucking fight you. Jake Paul went silent.
Well,
he moved on to Dylan Dennis, who is a grappler. Dennis went silent, and he went with Ben Askren. So he's doing this really, like you said, he's smart, this clever thing. He's calling out these legit fighters like Conor McGregor, Michael Bisping. He has no real intention of fighting them right now. He knows they're going to fuck his world up, whether it be boxing or MMA. He's going to keep taking fights against YouTubers and basketball players and 40-year-old retired MMA fighters who just had hip surgery so he can pad his little record.
I honestly, if I'm looking at his record, I think it's 0-0.
It's 100% 0-0 as far as professional records go. Yeah.
Yeah. Fight a boxer with a pulse, man, for real.
Right.
If you would just fight a boxer with a pulse, I give you the due credit.
Look, I gotta say this about it though, is I lost money on that fight. I bet on Ben. I bet some money on Ben. So he suckered me. He got me.
Well, I even heard Mike Tyson doesn't want anything to do with Triller anymore.
He doesn't.
No. And if that says anything right there. And
what got me with it was how childish it was. Like, you had Snoop Dogg commentating, which, basic principle-wise, I can't stand the dude commentating anything because he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Mm-hmm. But during this fight, as Ben is boxing Jake, he's sitting there screaming, hey, I bet $1 million on Jake. Knock his ass out. You don't do that when you're commentating a serious fight. You don't bring that stuff up. Like, do you really think that when DC commentates a John Jones fight, in his head, he's like, God, I hope this dude gets knocked the fuck out?
No.
But he doesn't yell, hey, I hope this dude gets knocked the fuck out. It's just how childish and piss poor the entire event was put together is what gets me. It's a literal shit show.
Yeah.
And it's working.
I will say there was some parts of it that was not bad. You like
Bieber, didn't you?
No, hell no. I was more, I was actually, at the beginning, man, the Black Keys actually played.
I didn't watch any of that. I literally watched about 5 minutes starting before Jake and Ben. That was it.
I was very shocked that they were actually playing. I was not expecting the Black Keys to be there. But when they played like five songs. And I was like, shit.
Their whole thing with that, though, is they're trying to mix entertainment and sports, which is a cool concept. He's just not pulling it off very well yet.
No.
But you got to think of, as much as everyone hates him, myself included, the Paul brothers are young, they've got money, they got fans. It's just going to get better. And it might get to a point where it's pretty legit.
Yeah, I see.
Like, it really could. Give it 5 years or so. Maybe even less than that. It might get somewhere legit.
I think it will get buys because of the entertainment value.
I want to know how many buys it really get, though.
Dude, it got over $1 million.
No, that's what he said it got.
Well,
I want to see actual numbers.
I don't have the actual numbers in front of me, but
no one does.
But still, I think I would not be shocked if over $1 million bought that. I really would not. Due to not just because of the boxing fight, but the entertainment factor to it.
Right.
You had Justin Bieber. You had it looked like a strip club up there. Like, I swear to God. And you had Ice Cube perform, Snoop Dogg, or whatever. But and then you had Ric Flair. Ric Flair randomly showed up.
Yeah.
That shit was pretty sweet.
Wasn't De La Hoya? I hope this dude doesn't watch this and slander me, but wasn't he fucked up on cocaine or something?
Oh, bro. He was jacked. Like he was zooted. He was. I was just thinking about the whole Dana White, interview. Talking about Oscar De La Hoya all coked out and everything like that. Oh yeah, man, he was just. And the thing is, he came out for the Frank Mir fight. And I was like, man, here it goes, man. They're just gonna fucking bash the UFC. That's all it was. I really feel like the whole pay-per-view, minus the entertainment side of it, I really do think that it was mostly a boxing versus UFC night.
Well, do you really think it got 1 million buys?
I really do.
It beat UFC 261. They got 700K. They announced it today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was what, 3 title fights?
3 title fight. Yeah.
3 title fights and a stat card.
Yeah. Because the thing is, though, boxing has always done better pay-per-view wise.
And I don't get it. It has, but I don't get it. I don't get the appeal of it.
I don't either, but it's one of those things that it's hard to say, man.
My problem is I started watching MMA first. I was never into boxing. I started with MMA, so when I try and watch boxing now, I'm watching a fourth of a fight.
Yeah.
But you think about how boxing's been around decades longer. I get why it's bigger.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been around.
I get it.
Yeah, I would not be surprised, though. If I had to put money on it, if we bet it today, if we put
you really
20
think you got $1 million?
I would think I got $1 million. I really would. That's just, I hate to even say that.
How much was the pay-per-view? Because those UFC ones are expensive as fuck. The UFC ones are like $70 or something. If it was like $20, $30, maybe it did, yeah.
I want to say, I'd have to find out, but I want to say it was like 50 or 60. I didn't buy it.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I didn't buy it though. So, but that's just my guess. And if I had to if I'm a betting man, I'd have to say that they did over $1 million.
It was $50.
50, yeah.
50, yeah.
It's not bad to see through some washed up UFC fighters and a fucking wannabe boxer. And
which one was the Suicide Forest? That was Jake or was that Logan? I think it was Logan.
Yeah,
sure it was Logan. He's boxing Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
Nah. It's gonna be like Floyd's last fight in Japan, right? It's gonna be completely fucking fake.
Oh, so that's why it's on Sunday. It's actually they're fighting on Sunday. On a Sunday.
Are they?
Yeah, they're fighting on Sunday.
No, Floyd had a exhibition fight after McGregor, and he fought this kickboxer who's like 80-0, and somehow Floyd took his head off.
I mean,
no offense to Floyd. Floyd's probably the greatest boxer of all time. The way he handled this dude, no way it was real.
I mean,
that's what we're going to see again.
Think about this, though. I do give Logan credit, though, for fighting Floyd, though. Instead of, Jake's just fight washed up UFC fighters. I mean, at least, hell.
See, I don't think Logan's really fighting Floyd.
I mean, but still, at least he's wanting to get in the ring with him.
Yeah.
Jake, give me something with a pulse.
Right. Well, I mean, Jake doesn't want to do that. He's got to get up to 20-0 or something like that.
Yeah, but still,
those boxing records are padded.
Like I'm saying, dude, until he fights somebody, with a boxing pulse.
Right.
Like, I mean, even in the Triller fight, there was actually 2 actual professional boxers that boxed that night.
Right. Didn't one of them box Frank Mir? Wasn't the guy that boxed him professional?
The one dude that boxed Frank Mir, I think he was, yes. But they actually it was one of the only fights that they actually had 2 professional boxers fighting each other instead of just like a UFC fighter with hip replacement surgery or some washed up dude that fought for a UFC title like 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, dude, I'm going the whole conspiracy route with Mayweather. It's going to be completely fucking fixed.
You think? I mean, it's
100%.
I'm just kind of pissed that it's expedition. It's an exhibition game.
Right.
That doesn't appeal to me. Why do I want to?
But Logan outweighs him by a lot.
See, that's what I don't understand.
It's because it's fake.
Why are they so far apart in weight? Like look at Frank Mir, like that fight, or even the Ben Askren, the Ben Askren fight. Ben, I'm pretty sure was Jake heavier.
Jake was heavier, man.
Yeah, Jake was bigger, taller.
Because they tried to Ben tried to come in at like 191 or something like that. He used to fight at 170.
Yeah.
I mean, he was above that. He cut a little weight, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's, yeah, I will never. Now, don't get me wrong. I probably would watch one, but I would never, buy one myself.
Honestly, here's the thing with Jake. I'm not going to consider him a legit boxer, and I'm not even joking until he boxes Francis Ngannou.
I wouldn't.
Dude, Ngannou would kill him.
I don't even want to see him fight a UFC fighter.
I'm sick of that.
You know, the whole Conor thing. You know, then
he got Conor. He can say what he wants. He doesn't want to fight Conor.
No, but still, though, man, he needs to lay off the UFC fighters, man.
Well, they got to quit giving into it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's honestly, there's a payday. Look at Ben Askren. He made over $1 million.
Yep.
He made
more than all his Bellator fights combined.
Yeah, and
that was like 12 fights.
Yeah, and you can't hate somebody for doing that.
Right.
You really can't at the end of the day. I mean, you got family support, whatever. But it's like, man, when does it end? You know, when is it?
We can end it right now if we book Jake Paul versus Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, but hey, it's people. Some people like that stuff. That's not for me. You know, but hey, minus the Black Keys and, you know, the slap off with Ric Flair narrating or officiating. That shit was cool. You know, watching that, you know, but that seemed kind of fake too. It really did. It had that had like the WWE kind of feel to it. Ric Flair walking through like the back area and everything, and it's just, yeah. I mean, I like Ric Flair, but not for that shit.
Right. So that's how I am with Snoop, man. I like him. I don't like him commentating anything. He got fired from the UFC for a reason.
Oh, he actually worked for the UFC?
There was Dana White's Contender Series?
Yeah.
There was a brief period where him and Uriah Faber, they used to let them just get stoned and do commentating. And it took like 3 or 4 weeks, and Snoop Dogg was saying so much stupid shit. Fighters were so pissed off at him, they were like, you gotta go, bro.
Yeah. It's like Stephen A.
He's a cool guy. He's just, oh, dude, don't. Not with him.
Yeah, I mean, but
that guy just.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that.
He needs to quit covering it.
Well, I don't think he's been covering it since.
Good. He needs to quit.
Since I think ESPN's kind of backed off, and they're like, hey,
he went after making a Levy low-key a couple weeks ago. He can fuck off.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Stick to the sports you know, bro.
Hey.
Like, I can't go on TV and talk about basketball. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's all right. And I don't even know what he really knows. He played basketball, didn't he?
I think he did, yeah. He knows basketball, football.
What's he normally cover? Gotcha. See, cool.
Basketball, football, boxing even. He does cover some boxing. Those are probably his 3 major sports that Stephen A. Smith covers.
And the other thing with him is he will slowly get better. But for now, he does not need to be covering the UFC. I get that he works for ESPN. Mm-hmm. So does Ariel Helwani. So does DC. So does Chael Sonnen. Like, there's people that can cover the sport that are not Stephen A. Smith.
True. Yeah. That's, I mean, but I think ESPN learned that, though. I think they really did. Good. You know, because I have not seen him at one, you know, because they've covered on the ABC yet already, and I haven't seen him on there. So
that's good, then.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Which he's a cool guy, too. I'm not even trying to be a dickhead about him either. He seems like a genuinely good guy. It's just like, if I would go up there and talk about basketball or football, I'm going to say some really stupid shit. Mm-hmm. And you don't need to be doing that when you're trying to take a sport and grow it, which was the whole point of the ESPN deal.
Yeah, I think it's a great deal for the UFC, though.
It absolutely is. It's gigantic. You know, hasn't really helped fighters that much, apparently, but it's a good deal for Dana White.
Yeah, I think that will come eventually.
Which, at the end of the day, Dana White cares about Dana White.
I mean, but still, he's got it in the right direction, though. I mean,
it's better than it was 10 years ago, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely grown.
Actually, 10 years ago, it would have been airing their very first card on Fox.
Dang.
Before that, it was, I think, Spike TV.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They came a long way since the Spike TV days.
They have. You know? I remember, what was that one channel? It was called Versus or something like that.
Yeah, Versus ended up turning into, I think it was Fox Sports, if I'm not mistaken. No, maybe it might not have been Versus. Maybe that was like the Speed channel. There was like a Speed channel.
Because they were on there right when I got into it.
Yeah.
And then Spike turned into Paramount and picked up Bellator.
Yeah.
Which Bellator's even gotten to Showtime now, so MMA's growing.
Yeah. But yeah, man, we'll go ahead and go ahead and call it a wrap and everything, man. But I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, hey, before we do that, did you find time to watch that QAnon documentary?
Oh, no, I did not.
Did you not? Let me look up the title of it for everyone.
Yeah, what we'll do is I want to watch it before we talk about it. Gotcha. I know because that stuff's not going to go away, really.
For anyone, basically what's happened is HBO did this fantastic fucking documentary series where for 3 or 4 years they followed around the guy that originally made 8chan, the guy that bought 8chan, and that guy's dad. And for anyone that doesn't know, QAnon started and thrived on 8chan for the majority of its time. But it's called Q Into the Storm. It's 6 episodes. But they followed these guys for a good 3-4 years, and I'm not going to ruin anything for anyone, but they pretty definitively found out who Q is. And without trying to come off as an asshole, it's the funniest, greatest possible ending to this story that you can imagine. Because you're going to watch it and you're going to go, of course it's this fucking guy. Because why wouldn't it be when you have a conspiracy theory about Obama drinking children's blood? Like, it's so incredible how stupid this whole thing is. Yeah. So when you learn who's been behind it the entire time, you're like, of course. It couldn't be someone brilliant. It couldn't have been this mastermind plan of recruiting these people for whatever. It's absolutely ridiculous. Check it out. It's 6 episodes. Cue into the story.
Yeah, I wanna watch it before we start really talking about it. That way, I kind of know what's going on.
Right. I don't even want to ruin it for other people, but it's great. It's a good story too.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got about an episode into it, but it
gets wild near the end.
It
gets wild.
Yeah, they're just it's just weird.
Like the dude, again, no real spoilers, but the guy that they believe is Q starts trying to frame other people as Q to trick HBO. The last episode or so was right when COVID started. There's this big scene where they're trying to bail out of the country before they get trapped there. Like, dude, the lengths they go, HBO is just top notch.
Okay. And what is it called before we get off here? What's the title?
Q Into the Storm.
Q Into the Storm. Okay. So check that out if you guys want to. I'm gonna watch it probably this evening. See what I can get going on that. Finish that up and everything.
It's perfect. Again, I don't like to be mean. I mean, people get tricked. I understand it happens. But if you can seriously be a Q supporter and watch this and come away from it and not change your thought process at all, you need to understand you're in a cult at that point. Like, again, I'm not trying to be mean. People fall for shit all the time. I've fallen for a lot of bullshit myself. But it's May 2021. It's about time we get past this. And I think when people watch this documentary, which is 6 hours long, with interviews from all these people, chronicling Q's start, his rise, and then when you finally realize who it is, I think it's snapping a lot of people out of it. I really do. It's fantastic. Okay. It's one of the best documentaries I've seen in a while. It's up there with Seaspiracy.
Well, I got to watch that one too. So
that's a good one too. And that one's on Netflix if you want to watch about how us destroying the ocean is going to destroy the fucking planet. It's the short version of that one. Save you an hour and a half if you want to start with Q.
Okay. All right, guys. So I just want to say thank you to Nick Young for coming back on again. It's always great having you on and everything.
I've lost track at this point.
Yeah, you've been on. This is your 3rd or 4th time. But hey, I have fun every time you come on here. So I appreciate you coming on and everything.
Oh, no problem.
All right, man.